I'll be teaching a seminar at 10th Planet Austin, October 12th, and at 10th Planet Richmond, Kentucky, November 23rd, and 10th Planet Livonia in the Detroit area, December 7th.
This December, Inch by Inch presents Jiu-Jitsu Overdose, live from Planet Hollywood in Cancun, Mexico. This extravaganza will include all 4 Inch by Inch shows: EBI, Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, Medusa, and Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico. One show every night, back to back to back. Thursday, December 12th through Sunday, December 15th. Live and exclusive on UFC Fight Pass. Thursday, Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico kicks off the Jiu-Jitsu Overdose with 2 8-man tournaments, lightweight and welterweight. Both winners will earn a spot in EBI and Combat Jiu-Jitsu just days later. Friday, the ladies take the stage with Medusa, featuring B-Team's Paula Ambrose, Alondria Rosales, 10th Planet stars Kaya Jackson and Lauren Sears. Saturday, EBI explodes with the welterweights, featuring current champion Alan Sanchez, B-Team's Kieran Kitchuk, New Wave's Oliver Taza, and 10th Planet superstar PJ Barch. The final night of Jiu-Jitsu Madness brings us to Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds for the lightweights, featuring current champion Ethan Croston, 10th Planet legend Nathan Orchard, B-Team superstar Damian Anderson, Jordan Hawley, and rubber guard assassin Ben Eddy. Planet Hollywood is a 5-star, all-inclusive grand hotel. If you want to witness this live from this premier resort, go to jujitsuoverdose.com and reserve your spot today. That's jujitsuoverdose.com.
This episode is brought to you by Cellular Performance Institute. Is your body beat up and broken down? Look into stem cells today. It could change your life. Go to cellularperformanceinstitute.com.
I can't believe I won.
And you still got people out there with double masks and face shields and shit. Look into it.
You can tell it's real because it looks so fake.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Look Into It. Tonight, it's all BJJ, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, with the legends, the legendary brothers, Gio and Boogie Martinez. What's up?
What up? How you doing, brother?
How you doing, man? How you guys feeling lately?
Good, man.
For those of you that don't know Gio, that's Gio right there, and then Boogie is the one with the white beard.
What up?
We got that's Boogie. They're brothers, and they're both 10th Planet black belts, both 10th Planet legends, both accomplished so much in the jiu-jitsu world, and especially for the 10th Planet system. Boogie was a combat jiu-jitsu champion, also a IBJJF no-gi world champion. Last year, he crushed everybody with rubber guard. No one even had a chance. It was just rubber guard, just blazed through everyone. Just went through everybody with like a machete with rubber guard. And Gio won EBI 1, he won EBI 2, and EBI 10, which was the most epic of all, one of the most epic events.
That was super epic.
Yeah, EBI 10, are you kidding? That was awesome.
That was actually one of the funnest events I've ever been to, just because like the excitement and everything about EBI 10 was just insane, man.
Yeah, and it was in Mexico. We're all Mexican over here. It was perfect, man.
It was wild. Like the crowd was pretty wild. Like I feel like the Mexican people, they love combat sports. You know what I mean? They drink their beer out there, get super excited, show a lot of love. It was like the crowd energy was on point for sure. Like Mexican people know how to go hard when it comes down to these sports events.
One bioorganic cognitive cog in the system of infinitesimalism, consumed by the simplest shit. Loom in the dark, Lucifer's aloofness and heart. My tongue will suffice, afflicted by the will to survive. For every cruelty inflicted, redirection and flight. Retribution retrofitted for more than physical fights. The fusion of life, experience, and fiscal insight. The future is bright, fuck yeah, I'm casting the light. Producing a score, starring like I need an encore. Navigating the waves till I arrive on the shore. Step over the graves, peaceful knowing no one is saved. Pero listo, no me brindo. Know what I'm saying? My upbringing on the East Coast, foster the beast mode. Never forget to represent for my people. Show some respect, this main speaker is keynote. Plus he's been puffing on that OG weed smoke. Swing low, sleep chariot till we croak. It's cheat code, homie, only thorough amigos. V5 from fuck you and then some. Giant aspirations got you playing the victim. Bliss comes and goes when the passion is low. Sorrow is sweet sedative, price right medicine. Evident in the way that you pine for attention. Get rid of the chip on your shoulder, playtime's over. Tonight it is. I'm jumping in. Out with the old, innocent with the new, and the sound cliche. Careful with the words that you use when you're turning a new leaf. Finding a new scene, you running for shadow figures and haunt you in your dreams. It's time to start a new chapter. This life's a mystery, happily ever after. Mixed with tragedy, trying to avoid disaster. And you can cover it up with a little laughter. And I guess we're trying to do our best. Move some trees for that stress, only know what you got on deck, yeah. I'm moving on to the next, cause the show don't stop. Only someone cutting them checks, now let's go. And I know you hear me, can you see me? Is this really true life? If you a fan and you can feel me, yeah. I'm saying this is a job, I've been doing this for a minute. We rise and we fall when we answer the bell. 5 rounds of going through hell, should've finished them in the first. Get that payout for real, so get them bucks up. Hands up, now let's get it. Cause everything's a battle of will, so don't let it hold you down. Take the crown and get with it. Fat butt, pretty face, somebody hit it. Cause the world's mine, I'ma shine, there's no limit. Get ready, I'm headed to the top of this game with it. So killing the game, spitting, it's freestyles are written. Cook it up in the kitchen, giving something I've left it. Something that you can bump in your whip when you're trying to kick it. Something more than some bullshit raps, the radio spinning up. Tonight it is. I'm jumping in. I'm jumping right in.
It was such an epic event. For those of you out there that don't know Gio and Boogie and their background, a large percentage of the high-level jiu-jitsu competitors come from a wrestling background. And Gio and Boogie come from a break dancing background, which translates almost equally as wrestling when you're talking about grappling and athleticism. The break dancing that you guys did growing up, you see it. It just translated immediately into jiu-jitsu. Like within the first month, you guys are already killing it. I already knew that, man, these guys got some insane potential. tell me about what got you into breakdancing. How old were you guys? You guys grew up in San Diego. Give me a little background on how you got into breakdancing.
Richie, you want me to go or what?
Yeah. Started off.
All right, pretty much like, when we were younger, we just wanted to dance because it was cool. You know what I mean? Like we just saw our next door neighbors breakdancing. I was like probably like 10 years old. Richie was like 12 years old. And we just saw our neighbors breakdancing and they were cool. We thought they were cool and it was just interesting. We were young, you was looking for stuff to do. And I guess breakdancing seemed pretty cool. And, you didn't have to pay for it, right? You didn't have to pay for it like all these other sports and stuff that we couldn't afford at the time. So breakdancing just made sense. We can practice with our friends and, it was fun and it was challenging. And if you got good, people around the neighborhood respected you, So we just started breaking and we fell in love with it. We started training since we were in elementary school. We didn't really have any coaches, you know what I mean? We were just kind of training ourselves and hanging out with our neighbors. And I remember going to the beach and for the first time seeing like a real crew, established crew. They're called Higher Dimension Crew. I remember seeing them for the first time and being like super amazed, just like the stuff they were doing. I was really impressed. This was like one of the only local crews that was actually active and competing at, a pretty high level. And we connected with them. They were over here at the pier in Oceanside, actually right next to where I have my school nowadays. And we would go to practice. We would take the bus every day, or every day they had a breaking session. We would take a bus from North County, like a little further out, all the way to Oceanside, which was like, we were young kids, and my mom let us, I guess, take the bus. We figured out how to take the bus just to go to practice, just to go all the way to the beach, get some breaking practice, and then we would jump on the last bus before, it ended. So it was pretty interesting that we were at that age just trying to get some kind of training going on. We're doing it on our own.
It was crazy because sometimes we would even miss the bus, and we'd have to like figure out how to get home one way or another. My mom was working at the time. Like she used to work nights and stuff like that. So sometimes just being able to catch that last bus back or train back, if we didn't catch that train or bus, we were kind of fucked, So it was definitely like a lot of like, hustling, making sure that we're, on point, like with everything, right? With their training, because like that training was very, very crucial for our lives, because it's like that's kind of like the only thing that we really had going for us at the moment, and we knew how we just had so much fun. So every time we were out there dancing, it was like our everything, right? Like it was like our life, kind of like jiu-jitsu is now. Like when we were on the dance floor, nothing else mattered. It was just us on the dance floor, and it was just like the best thing ever, the best feeling. We had a really good energy with the people around us and stuff like that, and it was a beautiful thing. I believe it was our first love for sure.
Now, when you guys showed up at the beach and there's a breakdancing crew, they're just practicing, and like, what did you guys just like show up? You're like 10, 11, 12, and you're just watching, and they said, yeah, hey kids, you want to, like, what was the very beginning? Like, what did they show you? What was the first moves that you have to learn to learn breakdancing?
Because you got to think about it. People that are B-boys and breakdancers, not everybody, like, there's no background check. You know what I mean? Like, these guys are just some guys that fell in love with hip hop and they fell in love with the art of breaking. And, some of these guys are, in society are some fucking, some wild people. I don't know. Who knows who they are? It attracts a lot of different individuals. You know what I mean? Like I said, there's no background check. There's no waiver. Like, you just show up to practice and you dance. The first time we ever went to that practice, my mom actually took us and we were just walking at the beach and we just saw some people dancing. And then I remember seeing them and we went up there and we had a couple of our friends that danced with us too. And we're all super excited. And we just like, we didn't know there's like certain, rules and certain things you do when you go to practice sessions. You don't try to show off, especially if it's not your practice session. You just go out and practice. But we're just trying to show off, and these older guys and teenagers and some of them were young adults. They're like, they didn't care. We tried to go out there and bust, and they just made us feel like we suck because they just busted out, and they're like, we're in a different level kind of shit, type shit. And we're really almost intimidated by them. Like we didn't feel welcome. We feel almost like these guys, they're trying to show that they're better than us. And we're like kind of intimidated by it, but also they're like, yeah, come back to the next practice. You want to keep getting better. We'll have another practice every Monday at this time, and we're like, okay. So they kind of, even though they kind of like made us realize that we weren't that good yet, they almost like also told us we could come back, and if we want to get better, we got to come back and practice more. And that made us like be like, all right, we need to come back in here and connect with these guys and try to get to that level. But it was definitely intimidating. It wasn't like super welcoming, like, hey guys, we're gonna help you out. Especially back then, it was more like closed doors, almost like type shit. Like people were, I feel like they were more like street, more, breaking comes from the streets.
CPI, stem cells, they could do some wild shit down there.
My shoulder was jacked. I went down there and worked, man.
Eric Anders' neck was f***ed up, and then he went down and got stem cell treatment. Now it doesn't bother him at all anymore.
CPI stem cells, 10 out of 10. I highly suggest it. I got stem cells in my knee. My knee is feeling a lot better.
I just come and I do stem cells to make sure that I'm resetting my body and staying healthy.
It regenerates tissue, reduces inflammation. The results are amazing.
When it comes to the science of stem cells, no one comes close to CPI. There's not even a close second.
Now, were these guys, how old were you guys? You were like 10, 11, 12, and these guys were like 15, 16, or were they 12 too?
No.
I was like 20, 30. 20,
Really?
30.
Oh,
Yeah,
shit.
yeah.
Damn.
Like adults, like grown-ass men, so it was like, it was kind of wild,
But a lot of them were like the top crew guys were probably like straight out of high school, like they just finished high school, type deal.
Now, do you remember like anything like that you were able to pull off in breakdancing that they were like, oh shit, this guy's a natural, this guy got a good move? Do you remember what was your first like go-to moves that guys were like going, oh shit, this guy got this down pretty good?
I remember when I started learning basic power moves, like ground power moves, like when I first learned how to do flares. You know what I mean? Because I was
The flares are the one where you're like the one that most people know. That you're like,
you see people in the Olympics doing it, right? When your feet don't touch the ground, you're on your hands and your legs are open, doing like that motion, kind of like a flare motion. And like once I learned how to do a few of those, people and I started doing like ground power moves as a like young kid. People started like respecting that, and I feel like that helped out a lot. I feel like Richie, when Richie started, Richie got really good at his style and like doing a lot of like we call them presses, when he can kind of like lift his body up like from the ground and kind of like without touching the ground, he kind of just like juggles his legs around, because that was like a style that it was brand new at that time, and we're just kind of like we like that style. It makes sense to us.
Now, but we just lost Boogie. We'll get him back in just a second, though. But so now you guys, so you guys were already practicing with your neighbors, like on cardboard and shit, like in the front yard on cardboard.
Yeah, I mean that's so true. It's weird. It's so stereotyped that like when we try to look back into what breaking was, when we kind of found out a little bit about it, we saw that people made floors out of cardboard because it was smooth and slippery and it had a little bit of cushion, right? So, and anybody could afford cardboard boxes. You can find them anywhere, you know what I mean? So what you do is you get a bunch of cardboard boxes and you tape it. You get tape and you tape all the cardboard box and you put your art on it. And one of our friends was like a, graffiti artist. So he was like a young graffiti artist and he would just like practice on the cardboard boxes, and you kind of every day you add a little story to it, and it just kind of, we would just fold it up and pull it out at night. Or I mean during the day, and we'll pull it in at night. And everybody would know when the floor comes out, everybody would meet up at that spot. And we lived in apartments, and I remember everybody would just bring it out to the apartments and meet up, and we would dance for like a couple hours. It was interesting, because breaking at that time is already out of fashion. You know what I mean? Breaking is cool in the 80s. In the 90s, like it's underground now. Like you're not supposed, like people my age at that time shouldn't know about breaking.
Yeah. So, do you remember like going and finding cardboard boxes? Like, where did you guys find cardboard boxes at the back of a liquor store?
Anywhere, yeah, like anywhere in the apartment. A lot of times, like behind the trash and stuff. We were just like anything. Someone's trash is another man's gold. You know what I mean? And that was to us. We're just like looking for stuff in the streets or wherever we could find it. And I remember once we started getting kind of better, we wanted a better dance floor because we're like, man, cardboard boxes is from the 80s, our uncles, and our dads were dancing in cardboard boxes. This is like new school. So what the new school was, you get linoleum.
Linoleum. Yeah, so
Yeah,
we ended up
linoleum floor.
we ended up getting linoleum after a while or whatever, and it was just like the prime, right? Like that's what you wanted. Like you, that was like the best dance floor for the moment. It was
Let's
like
save up our money.
I think it was like $30 for like a big piece of linoleum, like 9x6 or something like that. And that was like or everything. You know what I'm saying? We would get a solid place, like a flat place, like bring our boombox and we just go at it, you know, for hours and hours at a time.
Now, in the 80s, I would say most breaking was done to hip hop, right? But you guys are more on the new wave type Depeche Mode side. What was it that way? Like right in the beginning, were you guys dancing to hip hop because everyone else was, and then later you kind of say, you know what, I want to break dance to some new wave. Like, what was the music like in the very beginning?
I mean, we kind of dance to everything, to be honest. As long as it had a good rhythm, we'd be down to dance to it or whatever. Like around that time, it was like Daft Punk is when they first came out and stuff like that. So we were bumping a lot of like Daft Punk and stuff like that. At that moment of breaking, it was just like it was good music to dance to, and it was on everywhere. You know, you could literally like watch it on MTV, you know, back in the days or whatever, and it was just easy to like get that music. And you know, because like we didn't have a lot of money, so anything we could get would be like recording it off of things or dubbing like tapes from our friends or something like that. So, and everybody at the time kind of had like Daft Punk, and then we also had like breaks and stuff like that, you know, kind of like more like 80s kind of like style, like beats, like kind of like electronic beats that they were kind of like hip hop based, kind of like Africa Bambaataa, stuff like that, you know, and so we would dance to that as well.
That's the thing, is like we didn't even realize it. Like we just grew up naturally listening to like 80s music because our mom and like our uncles and stuff like that. And we just got into different style of music. We always liked the Depeche Mode. We always like, you know, just different early on in our lives. We like 80s, you know, we love 80s. We love new wave sound. And we got into, you know, like the hip hop from the 80s when they were sampling a lot of like Kraftwerk and stuff like that. We didn't realize it, but all that stuff was already influencing all electronic music, you know. And for us, it was cool because that was like what b-boying originally, like the OGs were listening to. So we were like, this is what b-boying is all about. But then later, as we got more into it, we started discovering just different types of beats. There were, you know, same kind of BPM and same kind of style of genre, but just weren't really your typical popular go-to breakbeat. It was just kind of, we're just kind of discovering our own type of sound that we like to dance to, whatever inspired us. And it kind of influenced us to kind of go a different route. You know what I mean? We started dancing differently, started looking different, dressing up. As we got older, our style changed too. You know, we started realizing we didn't want to fit in and be like everybody else in the scene because it was kind of boring for us. We started getting more into the punk rock kind of you know, goth, you know, post-punk style of like the 80s and 70s, and mixing that up with our b-boy style. So it was kind of like a blend of that, which is weird because nowadays modern b-boying is a lot of that. You know, people have a lot of mixed styles together.
Yeah, so when did you guys get to the point where you're like, yo, we got, you know, there's a couple songs that we got routines to. Maybe we should form a group, because your first group was Freak Show, or was that later on? What was the first name of your first group of breakdancing?
Gorilla Tribe.
Gorilla Tribe.
Yeah.
We're a Gorilla Tribe. I think we probably got inspired by the Gorillas or something. I don't know. But at the time, there's a lot of like monkey crews and b-boying that we looked up to, kind of, that we respected. And we wanted to kind of have our own little like kind of like gorilla, like weird style. So we're like Gorilla Tribe. And just like it was us and the people we kind of grew up around with. And they were in our crew. And
there was a couple other people, crew. Like, yeah, a couple people from like other places, like around North County, San Diego. But yeah, that was literally our first crew.
Battle, really.
Who was in that?
Yeah.
Who was in Gorilla Tribe, and how did that form? Like, how did you decide, you know what, we're going to get 5 dudes, we're going to call it Gorilla Tribe, and then you guys played parties? You guys, where did you guys perform?
Well, I mean, we don't perform, we just would go battles, right? Like, we would go to competitions, and we'd go to events, and we'd just battle. Like, you set up
how does a battle come up? Like you got a group, and how many people are in the group?
So sometimes it's 1-on-1s, 2-on-2s, 3-on-3s, 5-on-5s.
Like the basic concept of b-boys, what we do. Original b-boys will go to a party, a jam, and the DJ will be spinning, and then you will dance and try to be a better dancer than the guy from the other neighborhood, the guy from the other crew. Modern day is like not modern day, but at the time when we're coming up, like early 2000s and stuff like that, it was still kind of underground. So it was hard to hear about jams. You have to kind of go on the forums, or you have to have someone that knows about jams and give you a flyer. And it was an underground jam. And still, there's a bunch of jams all over the world, all the time. Now it's a little bit more sponsors and stuff like that, but there's still jams all the time. And we will go to jams and battle these crews from different places. Our original crew were people we just grew up with. Like our next door neighbors were Gorilla Tribe. It was me, my brother, my next door neighbor Steve-O, he's older, and Sonic, which was one of our best friends growing up. And Sonic's like a really good artist. He was more of an artist. Steve-O joined the military and like got a family and kind of like slowed down with his dancing. But me and Richie were the ones that kind of like really kept dancing and kind of started bringing people into our crew from different places, from local areas like in North County and stuff like that.
Were you guys like, so would you guys like, so you said the older guy ended up kind of like fizzling out. He got into family, but you and your brother kept going. Do you remember recruiting certain guys, like being at a jam and going, yo, we got to ask that motherfucker. We got to get that guy in.
So it's a little bit different. Like we kind of like, we knew a lot of people from different crews and stuff like that from just like being around the dancing. And then there was a lot of guys that were kind of like didn't really fit in with their crew, and we're cool with, which was kind of like they were more like into the music that we were into. They were more into like the style of clothing that we were into, like just style in general, right? Like when we would go out, like they would go to the kind of parties that we would go to, you know what I'm saying? So it was like we started kind of like linking up with people that were just more like, connected with us in different ways other than dancing. And then, before we know it, we were like, we got to get a crew. We got to get like a new crew that represents us like to the fullest. And that's when me and Gio came up with the Freak Show crew. But the way we recruited, it wasn't recruiting. It was just like people that we were already down with, but they were just like, kind of like the oddball in their crew, like the guy that didn't fit in their crew. And
some of them were in battling. Like Mirage, we were battling some of the guys from different crews. There were local guys that were battling, and they were just like better than everybody in their crew. And they just kind of wanted to be in our crew, and we wanted them in our crew. And we kind of just like slowly recruited them from other crews, or other crews like when we recruited Dean and Chonies, they're from another crew, and they just kind of we battled them and met them at a jam, and they started linking up with us and going to our practices with us. And that's really what it is. Like it's almost like jiu-jitsu. Like when you start going to someone's practice and you start training there consistently, you almost become part of their camp, Same thing in b-boying. Like when people start going to your practice, to your garage training, start showing up to the same practice you're going to, then you can start vibing and clicking, and then you're like building that bond as a crew. And together you're like, hey, let's go enter this jam. I think we can come up with some cool routines, and we can smoke all these guys. And you get motivated and you get pumped up together, and you also hang out together. You're friends, you're a family, you're a tribe. Just like we try to have that in our jiu-jitsu gyms as well, that kind of environment that you're like building a crew, of family, and you're finding other people that are like-minded that want to train just as hard as you do, but also want to have a good vibe and a good time doing what they love.
Now do you remember like when you had a certain guy that's in your crew, but before he was in your crew, he was in another crew, and you guys are just chilling, smoking weed or whatever, and you said, yo, I don't want to cause any problems, but we're looking for a new guy, and you're perfect. You remember those little interactions?
It was never really like, hey, we're looking for somebody. It was more like, yo, you're already like basically part of the crew, bro. And we were like, yeah, for sure, I am, So it was more like that kind of vibe. It was never like we're asking them. It was just like, it's already happening, bro. You know what I'm saying? Before you know it, like,
we had a little leverage because me and Richie were kind of making a name for ourselves, and people started to respect us, and we were young, and all the other young and up coming guys were excited to like train with us, and they wanted to kind of feel that up and coming vibe, and then we were trying to put ourselves out there in the scene and travel to these events and stuff, and we got invited to some kind of local events. Like I remember the first time we got invited to this event called Unsigned Hype. It was this event by this guy named Utmost. He threw this event where all the SoCal up and coming crews would get invited to do like a tournament throughout the months, because he had like a series every month. He would throw a jam, and every jam there will be like a different round of that tournament. So the first round, we would battle this crew, and if we win, we go to the next, and then eventually we make it to the finals. And we actually made it to the finals of this Unsigned Hype, and we ended up battling this other crew called Circus Runaways that was like our rival for since the beginning to the end, pretty much.
Yeah.
But what was cool is like we were invited to that jam, and we had to recruit a strong crew, and we recruited like the local strongest like guys that were already kind of dancing with us, and they were excited to see us, doing these big events. And they're like, they joined up with us because they saw we almost had that leverage, that pull there. They're like, oh, these guys are coming up, like fuck our crew, I want to come up with these dudes. It's like we're making our a name for ourselves, a new crew.
And it was mostly like crews that was like they weren't even doing anything anymore. They weren't battling. It was just like they were just dead crews, and it's like, yo, we'll take you to that next level. You know what I'm saying? Like, so we really did. We took them to the next level of dancing. It's like they were the only ones battling in their crew and stuff like that. So it's like not even excited for them. They just didn't, they just wanted to represent, but they didn't have nobody else to push them to that next level. And when we came around, we did exactly that. We kind of took them to that next level. And it's like, honestly, it was just like we would practice together. We would do everything together. So it's just like, might as well already do it, So it was an exciting time for us as well. It's like being able to be like that new kid on the block that's already blowing up. It's like that superstar, So we were always kind of like, they would always want to kind of like go to events with us and stuff like that. And we would get called out a lot. So call out is when you like you're dancing and somebody just kind of like challenging you right there and then, like in the sides, it's not in the actual battle. It's like on the side. Right, like before the battle even start, they're calling you out, kind of like almost like challenging somebody to a duel, right? But it's like in battling, and it's like they're almost like talking shit, and it's like really tight quarters, like it's like face to face. It's like it gets really heated sometimes. So that was happening to us a lot because we're like the new guys, right? Like the up and coming guys. But it's fun to do that. So all those guys wanted to be with us when that shit happened. So we made it fun for them again, like it's like when their crews were already dying out, we made it fun for them again.
And not necessarily always fun. I would say just exciting. You know what I mean? Because there was drama, there was beef. Like,
that shit's fun too, though.
Being part of our crew, there's a lot that comes with it. So it's like, there's to a point that practice spot that we were going to, that we grew up, some of these OGs from that crew kind of saw us doing our own thing and kind of getting a little bit of shine and hitting that new level, that next level. And a lot of times, I remember being at practice and even getting called out at practice, being like these older guys that saw us getting better now that we kind of started with. They're like, you guys are almost like, maybe we were a little kind of cocky, maybe we were a little bit hungry to prove who we were, you know what I mean? So at this point, we were doing our thing, but we still had weird older people kind of hating on us. I remember going to this practice, and this dude, like, we were like battling them, and we were destroying them on the dance floor. And this older guy that wasn't even battling, he would just drink, he would just go there and drink, but he was part of that crew. He just kind of like a hip hop head. I remember he went up and like slapped me, like smacked me in the middle of like the dance floor. And then Richie came and like tried to tackle him, and everybody like started getting, I was a kid at this time, I was like 13, 12 or something. And all these people came in and like got in the way, and like it was like crazy because this guy wanted to like fight me. And I was like only 12 years old, but 13 years old, but we're getting good at dancing, and we were getting these people upset because we're a little cocky. We're a little like, not like, we didn't care. We were just wild. We knew we were young, and we knew we were getting better, and these guys were getting older, and they weren't really doing nothing with it. And almost at that time, I'm older now, so I can see both sides of it. But I also saw the bitterness. People were almost kind of hating on us because we were trying to do our own thing and come up and make our own lane and make some noise and try to make a legacy and a name for ourselves.
And what year was this? Was this the mid 2000s when all this was starting to blow up and guys wanted to join?
Early 2000,
early 2000.
Yeah. Like, I mean, we started like 99, so it was around that time, like maybe like 2002, or 2001-ish, you know what I'm saying, around that time. That's when we started kind of like making a better name for ourselves. 2002 is when we actually like started blowing up and putting in like a lot of good work, traveling a little bit more. 2003 is when we started kind of like, that's when like Unsigned Hype and stuff like that started happening. And then, so yeah, around 2004, 2005, we were already traveling like all over the world. And stuff.
That's what recruited. People started finding out who we were, and we had a pretty solid squad. And it was more than just me and Richie. We had like a solid crew, and everybody pretty much, we recruited people from Colorado, people from, local North County and stuff, and we all kind of moved in around each other. And
Texas, a little bit of Texas people.
Now,
bit
were there any guys that wanted to join your crew, but physically they just didn't have moves?
All the time.
And were there guys that got in and they got lazy and they ended up not being as good as you thought and you had to cut them?
A little bit. We didn't really cut nobody. It's like, you just become part of the crew and you just kind of hang, right? Like, it's like, we're mobbing to different cities. They're coming with us. They're basically hype men in a sense, you know what I'm saying? They're like hyping us up, like, you know what I'm saying, in the battles and shit like that. They're like right behind us. Like, it's like once you're in, you're just kind of in. Like, there's no
the truth is like, you're in, but there's only people that are real crew battle heads.
Yeah. There's only like 5 of us that are battling battling, but we're mobbing like 15 deep. You know what I'm saying? Like,
really? In your crew, you had like 15 guys, but only 5 guys would go to war.
Yeah,
well, some of them didn't even dance, right? Some of them were like graffiti artists. Some of them were just
Party.
People that were just down to hang out with us. They were like just our friends and shit, you know?
The thing is, like,
anybody get butthurt like they wanted to battle in the crew, but you're like, you don't got any moves.
We had a lot of guys that were up and coming guys that we were kind of giving them chances to prove themselves, like the younger generation or like the up and coming guys that liked our style and they wanted to be around us. And we always look for that next up and coming guy to be part of our crew, because that's what crews do to keep the crew alive. You have to look for the next up and coming and like people that could keep your crew going and keep it alive. But some of these guys weren't up to par and they just like fell off, and we just didn't really like their style, even though they're dedicated and they're cool. They just weren't in that level to battle with us, because we had a standard. Our standards were like, they're pretty high. You know what I mean? We had to keep the standards pretty high to represent with us in the battle scene, because we're trying to be some of the best in the world. We're trying to like really be innovators in the game. But the thing too, a lot of guys that were really good at one time were just partying too much. They started doing drugs and people just started fading away and they just couldn't battle. And we had to they lost their spot. Like, you don't have a spot, and they will get mad like, dude, I've been down with the crew since day one and blah, blah. We're like, yeah, but you're not putting in work. You're not training no more. You fell off and you can't battle with us, dude. Like, you want to party and do that, that's cool. But if you want to be a battlehead, you have to be, on your toes. You have to be putting in work. You have to be grinding with us. And some of you guys are just hanging out with your girlfriend. You know what I mean? Like, hanging out with your girlfriend and you're not even showing up to practice. And when you do show up to practice, you're hanging out with your girl the whole time in practice. Like, it's cool that you found your girl, but do you want to be, do you take this serious or not? And we took it serious, like, to us, it was like our lives. Like, it really, like, it was everything to us. And we told ourselves not, like, we weren't even allowed to have girlfriends, like serious relationships at the time. We're just like, girls just gonna weaken the legs. Like, we want to be the best. Like, girls are just gonna make us like slow down. So people that had girlfriends, most of the time, they got kicked out. We didn't kick them out the crew, but we just slowly
parted ways.
Disconnected.
Parted ways. Yeah, parted ways in a sense. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's like we were really serious about how good we wanted our crew to be and how far we wanted to take it. Like Gio said, like, some guys just kind of like weren't up to par to battle with us. But like I said, most of them still kind of hung out and stuff like that. Like, they weren't necessarily like b-boys or dancers, but everybody always wanted to battle and get in there. And sometimes they'd get a chance if there was like say we had 5 people and there was a 3-on-3, we'll be like 3 guys on this crew and then 2 guys, and then we'll just get one of the guys that's coming out just to see if, maybe he dances better, or maybe he like does really good that day or something like that. But we wanted to make sure we always had full crews and stuff like that,
I want that upper body clench. That's what I'm going after. With the underhook, looking for double underhooks.
that's a juicy ass clinch. Perfect double underhooks, you're on your side, boom. That's all perfect. That's huge. In my game, for me, I'm like, I got this motherfucker. First fight in Abu Dhabi, 2003, against Gustavo Dantas. I got right in and got perfect double underhooks. I'm like, oh my God, had him in a lockdown, perfect double underhook, really quick. He just gave it to me. I'm like, and I was just sitting there going, oh my God, he just gave it to me. That was just off a front headlock, 100%. Push into him, you want to smash him, and then jump on that leg. You want to rush them, so they don't have so they're off balance. You jump on that leg, you hook that leg, you're gonna take their back or put them in the truck. Either one. Does that make sense? How often did you guys practice in when you guys were peaking? Like, and how long were the practices? And did they include anything that wasn't breakdancing, like any kind of weightlifting or some kind of like gymnastics training or something to improve the breakdancing?
We would dance every day for as much as we can, and all day. We had no life. Like, breaking was our only life. Like, I didn't care, like I just like I had no money, no nothing, but I was trying to be the best, like I was just training. Like, we're just training at least 4 or 5 hours a day, like every day. I remember when I moved to New Mexico with my crew for a little bit out there, when I was like training at my peak before I like really got into jiu-jitsu. And I remember we would wake up and go to, like, we would sneak into this little like gym at like this, essentially it's like a city hall, and they had like a gym in there in New Mexico, and no one would use it, and they had like perfect dance floor, and we'll sneak there every day, and we would just like chill there the whole day, just training, just practicing all day, getting stuff together. When me and Richie lived together, we would just train all the time, and like we would battle each other. We would just battle each other, watch videos all the time, and have our friends come over, and we'll drink and smoke and practice.
Yeah, like the shack, like there was like the shack in the back of my grandma's house, and we kind of like, me and Gio were staying there, and we would just like practice for hours. They had like slick floors, like linoleum floors, and we just practice day, night, like like whenever we weren't doing something else, we'd be there training all the time, coming up with ideas, coming up with routines, because me and Gio had a lot of routines and stuff like that. So we come up with like routines just to like take it to that next level, and we're just like bounce ideas off of each other, watch videos. Like, it was really like
having fun in our training sessions. Like, our training sessions were sick. We would just put up music. Random people would get invited, show up. People would bring drinks and smoke and hang out, and we're just like, it was kind of fun, like just like we're just training, and like people like coming around and watching us train, and some people train with us. We had different types of people coming around, and creative artsy people that do art now. They're creative in many different ways, and some successful artists that hanged around us just to like be around that vibe. And it was really like, it was a weird moment of our lives, but I loved it because all we're really focusing on was the art, what I mean, and just kind of this underground art that at that moment seemed like it was so big that it was everything. And then you reach a certain point that you realize it's just another art, like any other art that you figure out that you fell in love with. And once you find that connection, that love, then you can find out with other things too. For example, jiu-jitsu, and jiu-jitsu kind of took over at that point.
Now, who decides who wins a battle? Like, who are the judges? How does that work?
It's like people that have, that made a name for themselves, or like depending on the city, like sometimes if it's like a local tournament, it's like your local heroes, right? Like local guys that like have done good in the past in that scene. If it's like like OGs, right? Like it's like if it's like a worldwide event, they'll bring judges from different places, like that have done very good at competing and stuff like that. And it's basically like a person's perspective. There's different rules, there's different ways that people judge things, but like battles, but it's basically your perspective, right? Like, who do you think won? It's like, it's never like there's not a submission that finishes the battle. You know what I'm saying? It's like if you do something good, it may not be good to the judge. You might be like, well, I don't like this about that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, there's never like I smoked this guy, like I tapped him out and he tapped out and it's done. It's never like that. It's like at the end of the battle, you still got to get judged. Even if you think you won, you may not have won, you know?
And other judges are essentially, if you put it like in compared to jiu-jitsu, would be like you try to pick other black belts to judge. You know what I mean? Other black belts. Doesn't matter if they're older or younger, just like people with experience that have been around, they're considered black belts in dancing, the equivalent of a black belt. People that have experience, they have respect, they have knowledge and some kind of name in the scene. So they're considered black belts. They're competing at the pro level. And those guys could be considered, they have 3 judges, 5 judges. Some people try to create like a system, which is like a point system, just like jiu-jitsu, how they have like a point system, but it never works and there's no official system and everything at the end of the day when it comes down to judging, just like points. It's all like some people look at it different. Some people see something, they're like, that's a point. Some are like, no, that wasn't a point. And it's all at that point. It could, like if I will be judging, I like to judge like the whole battle. You know what I mean? Some people do round by round.
Round for round. Yeah.
So it's like, and they score it. Like at every round they got to score and they'll show you like which color won, blue or red or whatever that round. And at the end, whoever won the most rounds wins. But some tournaments don't show you what if you won the round or not because some people feel it throws you off. You know, you kind of like focus on the round instead of just kind of like going in there and being in the moment and not caring about if you won the round or not. So it's like different tournaments have different rules, just like jiu-jitsu.
Now, have you ever been in a battle where you just had biased judges and you clearly won, but they gave it to the other crew?
Yeah, many, many times, especially like we're a little bit, we were not definitely like traditional dancers, right? We kind of had our own style. We dressed differently and a lot of people didn't like that. So they wouldn't even care about our dancing. They would just judge us by the way we looked. You know what I'm saying? They're like, that's not really hip hop. They shouldn't be winning battles. I felt that was a lot of the criticism that we got coming up. Like we weren't traditional dancers. So we got a lot of hate for that. And I feel that sometimes that would just cost us the battle, just not even the way we dance, just the way we dress, you know?
Or like I said earlier, some of the judges are people that we battle, you know what I mean? Like it's weird in dancing. That's why I love jiu-jitsu, you know what I mean? Because I used to feel this even before I did jiu-jitsu. After we lost a battle or something, I just wanted to like choke the judge out or choke the person like across from me and be like, this is official. I won because I choked you out and I won, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's why I do jiu-jitsu, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, jiu-jitsu is the same. Jiu-jitsu is the same shit. You know what I mean?
You gotta have the option to put. If you really want to, if you gotta like, you want to make it official, then don't leave it to judges. You can submit them. You know, that's why our style. You know, that's why I kind of click with you. You know what I mean? With 10 Planet, obviously, because the style you have for the systems is like submission orientated. That we're always trying to just go for the finish. And that's why that's all I know in jiu-jitsu. I just know how to try to go for the finish.
Yeah. Man, I could imagine you guys like clearly winning and getting fucked by the judges and you guys freaking the fuck out. Whatever, like fucking fights and like brawls.
As the thing is like, we're pretty chill people, but in the dance community, in the b-boy community, we probably had some of the most, like, probably considered one of the crews that had the most fights in tournaments and events.
Oh, so you guys actually, like, had fist fights and brawls?
Fist fights,
like, we started
over the judge's call?
Not even that, just in general, man.
Some of them,
yeah, for sure.
What was the most memorable brawl that you guys got, and why did it happen, as far as you can remember?
Time as me, Richie. Trigonometry 2. Sorry, I was saying. We know which it was.
Trigonometry 2, but we also had that one.
Or 3.
3. And then we have also that one where we battle vicious germs. That was pretty crazy too.
Yeah, but we shut down a whole jam. It was supposed to be a big jam. It was
okay. How old were you guys right here before you tell the story? How old were you guys at this brawl?
I was like 17, 16,
like 20, like maybe 19.
And it was this big jam. It's essentially like the equivalent of EBI for b-boying. It's like it's all everybody wants to see, just the tricks and the blow ups. Nobody wants to see all the dancing and musicality. They just want to see the tricks and blow ups. And it was this event.
What's a blow up?
That era,
What's a blow up?
Like the submission.
A blow up is what makes the crowd go, oh, like
some crazy trick. Like a crazy trick.
Crazy trick.
But it's called blow up because the crowd blows up. You know what I mean? And so this competition is just based off that. So they get the best guys in the world to come in. And the year before that, I ended up getting in a push fight with somebody, and our battle was like the best battle. The jam kept going, but it was like controversial because like we pushed each other. And then so here comes, I think they took a year off, and here comes the third season of that event, volume 3, and it's bigger, it's better. They invited people from all over, and they have the top guys, the top 16 b-boys for tricks, and they flew everybody out, and they got a big venue, and there's already a lot of stuff going down. There's already a lot of weird energy in that event. But
everybody's good because like there's beef all over, right? Like it's like in dancing, it's like you are cocky, right? Like you wanna be the guy that's like
egos.
You think you're the shit, you know what I'm saying? It's like you should feel that way if you're a dancer, right? Like it's like you're trying to be the best in the world, you're gonna be cocky, right? And we go into this battle and everybody has an ego, everybody like thinks they're the shit, and when there's a lot of ego involved, there's gonna be drama happening. So keep it going, Gio.
And I'm about to battle against this guy that's one of the top up and coming young guys. He's really he ended up being one of the best guys to ever like come from the United States. His name is B-Boy Thesis, and I battled him when he was younger in the first volume 1, and I beat him, and now he's like the next up and coming guy now at this moment. So there's a lot of like energy, and he's at his prime, one of his prime times, and I'm like one of my prime times. Like I've been training, and I have a good chance of winning it. I made it to semifinals the year before that. The 2 years I made it to semifinals, and my crew is one of the best crews in the world at that time for tricks. And my crew's, every time you go up, everybody from your crew wants to follow you and go behind you to support you and kind of give you that energy to feed off.
Yeah. And we already kind of had beef with this crew anyways, we already kind of had like
with some crews, a bunch of crews.
With some crew, with that crew, you know what I'm saying? Like we already kind of like have like a history, right?
So everybody's like, so the tension is up and everybody wants to see the battle. And when my crew comes up, we hang in, how Richie said earlier, we had a lot of people in our crew that were like battlers, but there was also like just people that hanged around with us that were just like party heads or just people that just party with us. And some of them did graffiti, some of them were, poppers or MCs, and just different types of people hanging around with us. And we're all I'm about to battle, and I'm like, pumped up and I'm nervous. This is like a EBI match against this top up and coming guy. That's what it feels like. And everyone wants, I'm supposed to win, but this kid's like, he's supposed to shock everybody. And I'm like, I'm really pumped up. I'm really hyped up. And we're about to go to battles, and I just see to my left, I just see all my crew, like most of them trying to get in the front, and this guy's like pushing and like kind of like arguing with him. This crew called Battleholics at the time, like at the time it's like we don't really know each other. Now it's like this is old news and stuff, but at this time this crew is just like they're from LA crew, they've been around for a while, they're older, and they're a bunch of like LA kind of like Mexican, LA dudes and shit.
Kind of like cholo-ish kind of b-boys, like
they're down for their shit. They do their shit,
they're down for their shit for sure.
So we're there doing our thing, and then like one of the guys in our crew is like drunk, and he's not even a b-boy. He's just like a graffiti guy. And like they're talking, and like one of them, like, I don't know, someone says something and kind of like spits in his face accidentally or something. Like just spit comes out of his face, and then the guy pushes his face, and then my friend just sees it pops off, and he just punches the guy in the face. And then after that, I run to it, and then like we're fighting, and someone picks up a chair, and Richie's fighting this one of their guys, and then like we're all just kind of fighting. Everyone just like a big brawl, And I don't remember what
it was a brawl. Like it was a brawl, and it's like we had this other battle that was supposed to be so epic, and we have history against this other crew, and it was supposed to be like the battle, you know what I'm saying? And it's like because of this shit, like the spit in the face, and it's just like it became like something totally different.
People were mad because their guys were going to the front. They're like, "Don't go to the front!" Like, and they're like, "Well, it was my crew battling," and they got mad and like they got in the you know, like in a, I guess I would say like an
Altercation.
argument. It was an argument. They started
Yeah.
arguing with each other, and it just made it awkward. And I was just ready to battle, but once my crew started fighting, I started fighting too. And the thing is, I didn't know how to fight at the time. I wasn't trained. I wasn't a black belt. I wasn't trained at all. I never done any martial arts. We were just kind of like street kids, you know, just like we were just not scared. And we've been in a lot of street fights, but we didn't know we weren't really technically trained to fight anybody.
So how does it end? How does a brawl like that end? And when it ends, do you go back to the battle, or does the party just is it just
Not it.
over?
The whole event got canceled right
It's
then.
over.
It was so big and so long. The fight was so long that they're just like, we can't do this. It just
Essentially, people started breaking it up, and like they had security guards, and everyone started breaking it up, and they had a lot of security guards come in and break it up, and guys were holding chairs, and we were holding each other back too, because we did some like we didn't know how to fight, but we backed each other up pretty good, and we were just fucking people up together, and I remember just like we just like we it was pretty much like done, and you know we didn't want to keep fighting and just keep doing it. We felt like it was already ruined. We fucked up the jam, and we felt bad already. You know what I mean? We already felt bad because we knew right when it happened that we were gonna give us so much shit, and they're gonna be like, "Fuck the freak show. These guys should be banned from jams because they ruin competitions." You know, we knew that already, and we felt that. We felt disappointed that we let that happen, and we were mad at our crew guy that didn't battle. We're like, "Why the fuck did you get in that fool's face? Like, you should have played it cooler, bro. Like, I didn't get to battle. I've been training for this battle, and like, we fucking ruined the jam. You know what I mean? Like,
So do
it's
you
all
remember
over.
like after like at night you guys all got together, you guys were just
yeah, we were
chilling
fucking
and you were all
pissed.
pissed off?
And we were driving. I mean, it was in
We're
like
depressed.
yeah, it was like in Irvine or something like that, or no, it was like the OC. I don't know. I don't remember what that was. It
It
in?
was deep, dude. It was like Inland Empire.
Yeah, and we were pissed, man. We're like we drove all the way over there. Like our whole crew's ready. Like this fool doesn't even dance, and he's just there, and he like ruined the whole event. And but it was like such a like big event. Like there was people from all over the world. There was people from like Germany, people from like
Venezuela.
France, Venezuela, like people from all over the place. The motherfucker like ruined the whole event. We're just like, what the fuck just happened, man? And it's
Here-
like,
the
What
sad
happened to
thing is
that guy? Did you guys cut that guy, or do you guys let him stay?
yeah.
he's still around. He's still the homie. Like he does his own thing. He's the artist in our crew, but we're still like good friends with him. He was
Yeah.
just and he was just like drunk and just like you know when you hang around people and they're drunk and you're in that mindset and there's a lot of like tension already, shit's gonna happen. You know, it just kind of like we're just all like I mean, if it wasn't him, maybe the other guy would have done it. You know what I mean? It's like it was just like we're different kind of. We're different at that moment too. Like we were partying and we were you know, doing shit that we didn't have that much self-control at the time. You know, we're a little wild and you know, we were just kind of like asking for it. You know, our energy was already kind of building up to something like that. And like I said, similar stuff happened before and you know, like shit, we'll take a shot before we go battle sometimes. You know what I mean? Like we were just on a different tip at the time. We're like trying to mix like the punk rock mentality with b-boying. You know, so it was like we're really trying to go hard and trying to be rebellious and try to be almost anti b-boy and fuck the system and we're gonna be the opposite and we don't care if we shut down your event. Fuck your event.
Now, when you guys were at your peak and doing breakdancing, did you guys feel like before you performed you should smoke some weed, or you wouldn't smoke weed? And what about alcohol? A couple shots help, or would that fuck you up?
When we started
For me,
getting
you go.
when we started getting really good, like I love smoking and dancing. I feel it just brings the best out of me personally. I have more fun and I enjoy it and it's like playing music, you know. Some people like to play music when they smoke. I like to smoke and dance and smoke and do jiu-jitsu or smoke and surf and I just like to smoke and do any kind of art. It's just always fun for me. And I feel like once you have like good control over your body and over your high, then you can really have a really good experience and a really good session that's almost like soulful, you know, and dancing is a lot of like letting yourself out and being free and just, you know, freestyling. And I think smoking, sometimes I do stuff that I surprise myself because it just lets me be so free I enjoyed that, and I enjoyed being with my crew and like smoking together, having a really good smoking session before we go out there and battle. We used to have like a drink or two or like a shot or something before, but then we kind of started getting really good and serious with our dancing, and we realized that like that was stupid, and we kind of like most of us stopped doing that. Some guys still do it every once in a while, and we whatever they do their thing, but a lot of them ended up regretting it later and kind of just like going downhill from there. So it's like we kind of cut off the drinking and battling, but we was definitely like practice and drink every once in a while, but never really battle and drink, but definitely smoke and drink for me. Richie was kind of different, maybe.
Yeah. Like I love practicing like high and stuff like that, but being able to go compete high, I never liked that. I felt I needed to be like in the right mindset, especially like the battles were really important, and I just felt like I would probably like mess up. I kind of when I would just practice, I would be kind of like careless and just having fun and enjoying it, like not care about how the move ended up, but it would just be like I would mess up a lot, and it's like when I would battle, I needed to be like clear-minded and just like really focused so I wouldn't mess up, and I felt that I did best when I did best when I was in like high or anything like that, but I was more creative when I was high. So it was kind of like a change. So I would practice kind of like high and just kind of like try things out, new things out and stuff like that. But when it was time to battle, I needed to like do my best shit, so I would always be sober when I would battle.
Did you guys ever have anybody in the crew, maybe you guys yourself, where you battled and you actually drank way too much and you sucked and you fucked it up, or one of your crew members got too drunk and say, yo, you gotta stop drinking?
Yeah, sometimes when we would like when we would go battle like at like clubs or something, because at clubs sometimes they'll have battles, like special battles and stuff, and we would be always be drinking and stuff like that. So that would be kind of like the time that I'd be like, fuck, I think I had like a shot to like one extra shot that I shouldn't have or something like that.
But then the opposite too. There's been times when I like got too drunk and I just like went really crazy and just didn't give a fuck and just kind of busted out some crazy stuff because I was just super pumped up and I was just like too drunk to have any kind of fear and I just went for it. A lot of times that happened in the middle of a battle that I'm just like I remember being a little drunk and just like later seeing the footage of the battle. I'm like, man, I snapped pretty hard that round. I hit some cool shit, and it was almost by luck. Because there's definitely been times when I'm just too drunk and you have no self control. No body mechanics are working, and I'm just like trying to do stuff. I remember that happened to me in one of the 10 Planet parties when you were like playing. You guys were playing your band. I was like just gonna dance for you guys. I was just like. It was when I first became 10 Planet. I remember going to one of the parties. I was like drunk and I was trying to dance and I couldn't dance. I remember like Lila's all trying to grab me. She's like, "All right, Jill, come back." And I'm like trying to balance, and she's like, "I think you're a little drunk." I mean, there's been times for sure when I'm like, I think I have it. And I'm like, I can do this shit, and I go out there and I'm just like, no, it's not gonna happen.
So, okay, let's talk about the transition into jiu-jitsu. Take us through like the very first day. How did you get into jiu-jitsu? Take us through that.
So, there's a time.
And how old were you?
I was 21. I was 21.
21. Okay,
Yeah,
so your brother must have been 24.
Yeah.
24,
23, 24.
Okay.
I remember being like super at a time being, kind of unhappy, not really knowing what I wanted to do in my life. And then I met one of my homies. His name is we call him B-Boy Sewer because he's underground like a sewer, and it's short for connoisseur because he collects everything. Like he's a connoisseur of everything, not just b-boying. He collects old school toys, old school, movies, old school music, records, and just all sorts of stuff. And he fell in love with martial arts. He loves martial arts, and he knew everything about martial arts. And he actually told me about 10 Planet, told me about you, introduced me to your book. And I remember he let me borrow the ADCC, early ADCC tournaments when like Tito Ortiz was competing in them. And I saw like the first like choke DVD from the Gracies and Hickson Gracie and stuff. And I remember just seeing like being introduced to martial arts through this guy. And then me and Richie started watching martial arts a little bit. And my friend Stuart connected me to this guy named Ryan that opened up the first 10 Planet Vista through Sean Bollinger. Sean Bollinger is obviously your second black belt, and he was teaching over here in Vista, where I lived at. Where my grandma had a house, and we were living there at the time. And I remember going to a garage training before they officially opened up 10 Planet Vista. I was just intrigued, because I already fell in love with martial arts and I felt I could be good because me and Richie, our whole life, loved pro wrestling. And we always wrestled each other. We always grappled everybody in our neighborhoods and we were always really good. People always thought that me and Richie were good wrestlers naturally. So we just kind of gravitated to martial arts and grappling, and specifically grappling because of wrestling, because of pro wrestling. For reals, it was crazy because me and Richie are pro wrestling fanatics, and randomly they opened up a Nogi 10 Planet school where we grew up at in our neighborhood. And the first day I trained, I remember feeling like I just got hooked instantly. It was like a drug. I was like, man, this is like the first feeling I had when I first started b-boying. I fell in love with that feeling. And it's almost like this feeling that it's almost like I felt inspired. I felt motivated. I felt like this is what I want to do the rest of my life. And I didn't think I could have that again as a 21-year-old, because I already lived a whole life of b-boying. I didn't think I could have that again. And once I found that, I had to show Richie. I had to tell Richie about it. And I was so excited, so pumped up that I had to tell Richie about it. And I remember the first time I showed Richie actually fell in love with it just like I did. He was like, I think he fell in love and switched his whole life the first day I introduced him to jiu-jitsu. It was pretty crazy.
So you went
a little bit later though, right?
You went one day, and then, or did you train jiu-jitsu for a few weeks and then you brought Boogie in, or was it just one day and then you brought Boogie in?
It was like a few weeks later. Like I was already training. Like I became the guy that was opening up the 10 Planet Vista. I became like his right hand man because he saw, I guess, potential in me. And then Sean Bollinger also like was impressed by my abilities to pick up technique and to be able to move because of b-boying. So I just became his right hand man. He's like, hey, if you teach breakdancing here, I'll let you train for free. Because I was broke at the time. I didn't have money to afford jiu-jitsu at the time. So he's like, if you can help me out, build this gym, and you can teach some dance class, I can, I'll make you essentially, a coach here for dancing, and you as a coach could train for free, but you're gonna have to coach my son. So I started coaching his son dancing, and I could train there at the hot box. It wasn't a moon yet. It was a hot box, which is before it becomes an official gym, right? That's what we called it, a hot box. So it was a 10 Planet Vista hot box. And I remember meeting like Rick Marshall, like all these guys are 10 Planet black belts now, and they were all there at the garage. And I was just like, I was like, I'm gonna be better than all these guys. In my head, I was like, I'm catching up. Like I'm in love with this shit. And I was like talking to Richie because Richie wasn't living with us at the time. And I remember talking to him, telling him on the phone, like, man, like I'm training jiu-jitsu, man. You're gonna be so good at it. Because before that, we were already watching UFC. We're already talking about. We already wrestled our whole lives, and Richie used to always beat me. Richie used to always be better than me. Like he would just pull my head down and like put me in a front headlock, and I couldn't do shit since we were younger. Like he always just had a really good front headlock, and obviously that became like his Darce and his vice grip. But Richie used to do that back in the day, just like put me in a front headlock, and I had a good front headlock too. And that was my thing when I was younger. I used to just get people in a headlock and I would crank their neck and they'll tap out. So I think that transferred to a guillotine. But Richie, when you first, do you remember the first time you officially trained with Richie?
I think, was it after you competed or was it like before that?
I think you got motivated, inspired, like officially when you.
I think I trained once before, yeah, and I was living in LA area still. I remember I went. It was for like, I remember Johnny Ho was there too.
Johnny Ho.
I remember that. Yeah,
do you
Johnny Ho.
remember the experience when you first went to that tournament? I think that was like the first like official jiu-jitsu experience that you really had and I had in a tournament, and it was random because Eddie was there. But do you remember that day?
I remember that. I remember
Nationals.
you were training for fucking like 2 months.
Yeah.
It was like, and you were already on the dude's back. Like you were like a beginner and you were just like wrecking people. And I remember thinking, holy shit, this guy has got tremendous potential.
Yeah.
So it was like a Gracie Nationals. It was Gracie Nationals.
And it was a blue belt division, I believe.
It was blue and white belt. They had them
It
mixed
was
up.
blue and white belt. And then I remember I went there and I was just like, hell yeah, like fuck
I
off.
remember
Like,
him being like, "Fuck him up, Gio." Like he was like, it was like he was going back to like the b-boy days, like how we would just fight like other crews. To him, it was like a fight. I was like, he does a jiu-jitsu because he wasn't training yet, you know. So we just like, "Fuck him up, Gio." Like he was getting me pumped up, and I remember Eddie was there because that was the first time you saw me compete. And I remember Eddie's like, I'm like trying to press you, Eddie. I'm like, I want Eddie to know who I am after this day and out because I already knew that. I felt good. I was fucking everybody up at my gym. You know what I mean? I was already doing good, and I remember it was like 2-3 months of training. I remember like everybody like taking out blue belts and stuff, and doing good even against some like purple belts and stuff. And Richie saw me compete, and I think after he saw me compete, that's when Richie's like he told me he's like, "Hey, I'm gonna move back, dude. Like I'll move back. I want to start training. Me and Nora are gonna start training." Richie's wife Nora, they moved back from Monterey Bay, and I think that's when Richie started training.
no, we were living in LA at the moment.
Oh, LA,
But
LA.
yeah, but that's when I really got motivated. But because I would go to the practice and we would go teach the breakdancing class there. And I would go once a week, but I wouldn't stay for the jujitsu part. I would just go to the breakdance and like breakdance with Gio and the crew or whatever. We would have our sessions there. But then after that, that's when I actually got like pumped up and I'm like, oh shit, I got to do this too. You know, like it made me have like the same feeling, like watching it was like the same feeling that I would have for like battles and shit, you know? So it was like super motivating and it seemed like super fun, like super competitive. And that's what I was like looking for. I still wanted to be competitive in some sort of way, but I was kind of phasing out from like the breakdancing and just like, I felt like there was nothing else left for me in dancing, you know, especially like I wanted to make money. I wanted to do, and I didn't do jujitsu because of the money or nothing like that, but I just wanted to have a real job while still being competitive. And if I was sticking to like breakdancing, I was looking for some sort of like money. Like I needed to like gain more money if I was really going to be committed to like breakdancing. And I thought once I found jujitsu, I'm like, well, I could have a job and still do like go train at night times. You know what I'm saying? Like it'll still be good. You know, like I wasn't trying to be a world champion. I just wanted to still be competitive, you know?
Gio, now you're teaching the breakdancing at 10th Planet at the Hot Box or
now the gym opened up, you know.
the
Now
gym opened up. You're teaching the dance classes, and then you're dragging Boogie along, and he's like your assistant, and then Boogie gets addicted.
Yeah, like Richie, like I don't know if Richie looked at it this way, but I looked at it this way. It's like Richie was always my big bro, could always be
Somebody
me.
called me. Sorry about that, guys. Somebody called me and then you just messed my shit up.
Richie could always be me and you know, in fighting. He was a better fighter than me. He's just my big bro and I could never beat him up and stuff. And I think when he felt what jiu-jitsu was doing, how much like power it gave me because you know I started gaining power and I started gaining this lifestyle of jiu-jitsu and living it and Richie was kind of intrigued by it and I feel he also saw that you know he's like almost like Richie's competitive just like I am and I think he didn't want me to you know gain this superpower of jiu-jitsu and he didn't have it. You know, it would have been weird if I could just fuck Richie up with no problem, you know, because he never and I think Richie you know, he's like, damn, like he just kind of fell in love with it, just committed himself to it, and it became like a thing that we can share together too. You know, me and Richie loved that we can experience traveling together with dancing, and we kind of stopped doing that. You know, when he moved away a little bit, we kind of stopped connecting through. We weren't connected like that in dancing no more. Richie kind of left the scene a little bit earlier than I did, and he was kind of like more trying to just like he was older, I think, trying to make money, like live his life, and
I hated being broke, bro. I hated being broke, you know, and it's like I felt like breakdancing, like I was always broke. Like I was always trying to like travel and like I was getting invited and stuff, but it was just like there wasn't enough money for me to like make a living, you know, and that's what kind of was throwing me off. Like I still wanted to compete, I still wanted to do all that, but I just didn't have money. So I'm like, what the fuck am I gonna do? You know, so I was looking for something different and you know, having a job and just a better job, but still being able to train. I wanted to be physical, like some sort of like sport, like something physical, right? But man, once I found jiu-jitsu, I just like never looked back, right? Like I was like one of those things that kind of pushed me to that next level. And before you knew it, it was like it ended up being my whole life. Now I like thankfully, like, we were able to make money and make a living off of jiu-jitsu, you know?
And now, like, looking back, there's a few break dancers from your era that have ended up getting their black belts in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, like Mike Murda. Like, what other break dancers got into Jiu-Jitsu besides you guys?
I mean, there's some people kind of doing it around time. Like, there's like a famous b-boy, Flow Master. He's like Usher's like dance coach and stuff. He's like a little older. He's trained with like CSW, and I think he's a brown belt and stuff like that. But he's also like a striking guy, and he's always been into martial arts and incorporated kind of like martial arts with b-boying. And he's one of the guys that's kind of like he actually trains for reals, and it's cool because he's hit the highest level as a dancer. He's like a OG.
He's trained with like Atos too and different fighters as well, you know, like he's done good for himself in the martial arts world, even and as well as in the dancing world. We have a homie from Texas named Rudy Rex. He has his own school out there and stuff like that, and he's been killing it for a long time. He was doing jiu-jitsu before us. It's pretty good.
And b-boy.
And b-boy, yeah, he was like an OG, like he's like mid-90s, you know what I'm saying, b-boy and stuff, and he's got his black belt and jiu-jitsu now, and he has a school in Austin, and there's a few guys out there, man. It's very cool to see, like a bunch of b-boys getting to that next level of jiu-jitsu.
There's a bunch of blue and purple belts coming up now. I think even now, like the next wave of people, like now people are even now they see me and Richie and a couple other guys do it, and I think a lot of people are motivated and they're like pumped up. And obviously, jiu-jitsu has grown a lot now, so it's more like mainstream. And I think a lot of b-boys are starting to see the connection with jiu-jitsu. So you see a lot of younger generations, you see a lot of young kids that break dance and do jiu-jitsu. So it's kind of cool to see it.
Now there's a black belt female from the Bay Area. She's like a Filipino chick. I forget her name. She was a b-boy too, right?
B-girl. Hey,
what was her name?
She might be a B. Not she's the B-girl. Her name is
K.
Christina.
Yes. Christina, like Bellon or something.
In Kinetics. Back in the day, her name was in Kinetics, and she was part of this crew called DSD1. Down since day one. They're from the Bay Area, and we were actually really cool with them because we had like similar style. We had like a super crew with them and this other crew from Milwaukee. We used to have a crew called what was our crew called? Bermuda Triangle. And it was like all three of us because we made a triangle together, and we used to battle together when we met up at different events. And she was one of the persons from their crew, and we got along because she had a flexible style. And randomly, I remember years later, just like looking at a jiu-jitsu magazine or something and seeing her, and I was like, I know that girl. And then just
what's her last name? Bellon?
Beltran, maybe Baltar. I don't even know, something like that.
Christina like Beltran or something, right?
Yeah, she's a Caltera black belt, right?
Yes. And then Mike Murda, he's a DJ now. He's a famous DJ, but he was a b-boy growing up, and you guys knew him, right?
Yeah, he's crew and super crew. He was part. They won America's Best Dance Crew. He's been around for a while, so like we always saw him coming up, and it's cool to see now we connect always, like because we come from the same scene, and we got that neutral respect because we know it's like there's only
we used to battle each other too, like that was a crew we used to battle and stuff, like their crew, like that was like we're kind of like the same era, so we would always do the same competitions and same battles and stuff like that. It was cool.
Yeah, like in jiu-jitsu, everybody in the jiu-jitsu scene knows that wrestling translates probably the best out of all sports. Wrestling translates the best to jiu-jitsu, but really all sports, all high-end sports, even soccer translates to jiu-jitsu. Strong legs, athleticism, coordination, that all makes the early days in jiu-jitsu a lot easier. But wrestling by far would be the sport that translates the best into jiu-jitsu. But there's an argument for breakdancing too, because when you look at the athleticism that's required in breakdancing, it's insane. Body mechanics and body strength and the balance is insane. So I saw it immediately with you guys. I never really even thought about it, but it just makes sense when both of you guys joined 10th planet, I could see that right away. I'm like, wow, breakdancing might be right up there with wrestling as far as a sport that translates the best when learning jiu-jitsu.
I mean, yeah, like b-boying is all about body awareness. And, like, we would be training for hours and hours without any kind of coaching, without anybody training us. That's what we'd be doing. We were our own coaches. We had no system. Like jumping into a gym with like a coach that's already experienced, helping you, guiding you. Then in that case, like that makes everything so much easier. You know what I mean? Like you're gonna excel and you're gonna do well in that kind of environment when you have the b-boy mindset. It's like a mindset. B-boys I feel have like a really unique mindset. I feel like b-boys, like, we train hard no matter what. We don't need anybody to tell us to go to class. We're gonna go to class no matter what. That's why I love when I have some student that's like an old b-boy that comes in and wants to train, or like a younger b-boy. They do so good in my classes. They excel really well, and it's just about commitment too. And like we mentioned earlier, a lot of b-boys have a lot of ego. You know what I mean? So they will be a lot more b-boys in the jiu-jitsu community if they didn't have egos, because a lot of those guys don't want to come in and start from scratch. They want to come in and be the shit already. So I feel like, honestly, if the b-boy culture was a lot less more, not as egotistic, there would be more b-boys accomplishing more jiu-jitsu, cool stuff like winning tournaments and stuff like that, or getting their black belts if they were, not so like cocky. And jiu-jitsu is kind of hard to get good when you don't like to get tapped out, when you don't like to suck at things. You gotta start somewhere.
Are you guys ready for your next combat? Please welcome to the stage the #1 Mexican American on this flat earth. Please welcome Eddie Bravo!
ProPen, the Eddie Bravo signature line, available now in licensed shops in California.
That goes for, even wrestlers, because when wrestlers learn jiu-jitsu about as fast as you can get. But wrestlers generally have a top game mindset, where the whole sport of wrestling really is about getting on top, getting the takedown, staying on top, never getting taken down. So in jiu-jitsu, we got that other side. Jiu-jitsu, we do have the bottom side where we're not on top, we're on the bottom, and there's tremendous gain from the bottom that you don't see in wrestling. So wrestlers that come in, even though most wrestlers, all wrestlers really, if you wrestled at just at a high school level, junior college level, and especially at a regular college level, you're coming in with so much advantage. But if you can't handle getting tapped or being put on your back and fighting from your back, a lot of wrestlers just say, fuck jiu-jitsu, I'm going to stick with wrestling. We don't fight from our back where I come from. So there's a lot of that in wrestling too. The best jiu-jitsu guys generally, a large percentage of the best jiu-jitsu guys, American jiu-jitsu guys, come from a lifetime of wrestling. And the reason they were able to succeed in jiu-jitsu when all the other hundreds of thousands of wrestlers never even bothered to do it is because they enjoyed submitting and battling people off their back. You got to enjoy that. It can't be a feeling of defeat, like, oh my God, I'm on my back, I'm losing. And a lot of wrestlers have that mentality. And it's a good wrestling mentality, because if you're just wrestling, yes, you got to be on top no matter what. You can't be on bottom. Otherwise, you're not going anywhere. You have to have that mentality. But with jiu-jitsu, you don't have to have that mentality. All the best jiu-jitsu guys, all the legends, the ADCC legends, the absolute best guys, all of them, even from the early days, Jean-Jacques, Marcelo Garcia, to even Rafa Mendez, and the guys like today, Craig Jones, Gordon Ryan, all of them will beat you off their butt. All the best guys will beat you off by sitting down. And the reason that the best guys all do that, all pull guard, is because you can't be the best if you're afraid to sit on your butt. If you feel like at a disadvantage because you're on the bottom, there's no way you're going to be the best. It's impossible. All the best guys, they just sit down and go, listen, like, I'm on my butt, I'm on top, it doesn't matter, I'm still going to beat you.
You have to be open minded to be able to do it all, and just be comfortable everywhere. And I feel that sometimes, like, I mean, when you first start, like, for me at least, like when I first started, like being on the bottom felt like I was losing. You know what I'm saying? Like somebody's on top of you. So it's like it's that white belt mentality. It's like I don't want to be on the bottom. I want to be on top because I feel if I'm on top, I'm winning. Especially like watching UFC and stuff like that. The guy on top just ground and pounding is the guy winning. So it's like, oh man, top position is a strong position. But once I started getting more into jiu-jitsu, I started like getting more open-minded and stuff like that. And I feel that a lot of wrestlers don't give it a long enough time to be able to like give it a try, So it's like get comfortable enough to be on the bottom and just understanding that. But the longer you do it, I feel the easier it gets and the more confident you get on the bottom position.
Like a wrestler that knows how to play guard are more dangerous. You know what I mean? Those are the things.
For sure.
When I meet those guys or when I have a student that comes in as a wrestler, I know my job is to try to train them to play guard because once they develop that, then those guys are always good. They always have really good base already with the wrestling. But B-boy is a little different. I think like just understanding how to be off your back naturally as a b-boy. I feel comfortable on my back, honestly. Like Richie playing rubber guard and just kind of like using his legs to control people and stuff. That felt natural to him too. To us, we already could do lotus with our legs. We already could put our legs behind our head. You know what I mean? So these types of movements we're already kind of familiar with, especially when it came down to like 10 Planet with rubber guard and stuff, because our breaking style was already flexible style kind of tricks, so they kind of incorporated well. And then, now being more advanced in jiu-jitsu and kind of being around for a while and seeing different techniques, there's so many different techniques that are very similar to movements that we do in dancing, when it comes down to passing and posting out on your hands and floating, passing from the top and then from the bottom, going inverted and, going under people and stuff like that. That helps a lot, to see those similarities and connect them together. So naturally, that's why I think B-boys do good when they do jiu-jitsu. It's in their body already. The movements already feels natural. It's more about understanding the concept behind the movement that people have a hard time like understanding the concept behind the move. Once we understood the concept, me and Richie, once we understood the game, then we're ready to go. It was like, it made sense. It was like, I've been doing jiu-jitsu my whole life. It felt natural to me.
For me, it was just a matter of like creating patterns and putting all these combinations together, right? Patterns, I felt like me understanding patterns made jiu-jitsu easy for me, understanding what's next and just remembering patterns. That's basically like remembering the routine, and it's like, especially when you get taught in a certain way. But in breakdancing, you have your sets, right? So you do sets, and it's basically like it's stuff that you practice over and over, but then you have to kind of like improvise at the same time, right? Depending on the music and stuff like that. And I feel that's exactly what jiu-jitsu is. You're improvising, but you're also like practicing these moves that are kind of like routines in a sense, right? Like basically like a Kimura flow that goes to a Kimura, but you have to be able to adjust as they move as well, right? So I felt that that's one of the reasons why jiu-jitsu was easy for me, just being able to understand just different patterns and just kind of timing. And I feel that made it easy for me to remember and understand jiu-jitsu.
Well, Boogie, your guard, your bottom game is arguably the best bottom game of all time. I mean, including all jiu-jitsu. I really, when you're talking about the most dangerous jiu-jitsu fighters off their back, or any fighters really for that matter, Boogie is right there, top 3. You're probably number 1, really, when you break it all down.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, you're like anybody that goes into your guard, is in fucking trouble. That's at least 50%, and I'm being conservative. Someone ends up in your guard, in your full guard, 50% they're done. And
that's a good percentage too in jiu-jitsu.
Yeah, that's good, but in reality, it's more, especially if someone in your own weight division, someone in your own weight division, in your full guard, realistically, it's 80% they're done. But we'll say 50%. But Gio, he's not really known for his rubber guard, but his rubber guard is fucking high level. Just his top game is just where he's made his name, with his darces and his infamous guillotines and his passing. But
I like going inverted. I like looking for the backs. You know what I mean? I like looking for the backs, and even though I didn't want to, I got into like leg locks, and I end up leg locking people a lot, and I end up taking the back and choking people and guillotines. But when it comes down to guard, it's like I I still
you
feel
got
like
good rubber guard,
rubber
Donald. You
guard.
got good rubber guard.
I know I
Don't
feel
even
like rubber
trip.
guard is still one of my favorite moves. It's just like I want to get more opportunities in there in like tournaments and just be able to showcase it more. But it's kind of like I like that my rubber guard is still like hasn't been displayed at its full potential. But I always tell everybody like when they tell me about rubber guards that they don't know if it works at tournaments or this and that. I'm like, have you seen my brother's highlight reel?
Yeah,
Go look at
yeah.
Richie's highlight reel and he'll change your mind about that.
And it's crazy
Jada,
because it's like I feel like I'm more of a darker Japanese necktie, like Peruvian necktie guy. But I feel that when I go into a tournament or when I go to competitions, it's too easy to do rubber guard on these. Like I feel like so easy for me to like whip that leg over right off the bat, and I'm like, man, like I'm like, oh, I'm gonna guillotine everybody in this tournament, and then I end up just rubber guarding everybody, and it's crazy how easy and how comfortable I am in like the rubber guard position, you know?
Oh man, like I said at the top of this episode, last year's IBJJF Nogi Worlds, you had 3 matches and you wrecked every single guy in rubber guard. They didn't even have any offense. They didn't have a shot. There was no highlights from anybody else. You just went right. It was fucking amazing. And to hear people still doubt it is hilarious. It's hilarious.
It's crazy.
A lot of people don't have Richie's body type, you know what I mean? Because he's long, but people don't expect him to be that flexible. And then understanding, obviously training under Eddie, you have the system in your DNA now, you know what I mean? Since we started, since we're white belts, we've been going training with you and stuff. And I think Richie just kind of like picked up the game and it just made sense to him. But Richie was already a tall guy doing Lotus in his breakdancing, and you didn't see that typically a lot of guys with Richie's size doing Lotus. So when he does flying Kung Fu over the shoulder and traps, like to him, it's like he's been doing that since he was like 12. You know what I mean? Like he's been whipping Lotus since he was a little kid.
Yeah, man. And I appreciate the loyalty, the dedication to the 10th Planet Association from you guys. You guys are diehard soldiers, and I love you guys to death. You guys are my brothers forever. And let's switch let's change the subject just a little bit. And what do you guys think about what's going on with the world today? Like, what the fuck? Right? What's going on with did you guys see the JD Vance, Tim Waltz debate?
I saw some
yesterday?
of it for sure. Yeah, I saw some of it. It's pretty wild how that like represents the United States right now. It's like a lot of bickering, but it's like a lot of facts being thrown at the government, right? Like of what they're not doing, right, to be able to like push us to that next level of society. But man, it's fucking crazy how divided everything is at the moment. You know what I'm saying? Like you can't even say what party you're representing because it's like you're gonna get hassled whichever side you're on. It's very interesting because it wasn't like that when I was growing up, at least, like it was very different. And, people were able to talk about this kind of stuff a little bit easier. Now I feel it's like, you're going to get fucking canceled if you're on one side. You're going to get canceled if you're on the other side. It's like, it's a very crazy world that we're living in right now. And especially like, I feel like we're like, in 3 world wars right now. Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of crazy. Like, it's crazy, man. But yeah, I feel it's very interesting. And I'm in for it, man. We have one more month of all this craziness happening right now.
And then the election.
So
Like,
it's like
what's
I want to see what happens, man. Because it's like, I mean, potentially like World War III is about to happen, supposedly, right? So we'll see if that even ends up happening and what's going to happen if it does, right? Like it's kind of wild, man. It's kind of scary at the same time, to be honest.
Yeah, it affects all.
No, fucking taxes, dude.
Yeah, it affects
for
all
sure.
our business. All our businesses are affected by this election. For me, it's a no-brainer. I mean, whether you bought into all the Trump propaganda in the beginning, but from all the MSM or not, whatever you think, because people are like, oh, Trump is a narcissist. Trump, he doesn't know how to handle being president. He talks too much shit or whatever. But right now, it all comes down to just two things: Kamala or Trump. That's it. There is no other choice.
That's crazy.
That's it. And if the Kamala side wins, like we don't know if the Trump side that make America great, we don't know if that's 100%. That could be all bullshit. They could be playing good cop, bad cop. We don't know. So the Trump side sounds good.
Sounds good. It sounds good.
Like,
sounds good.
First Amendment, Second Amendment, secure borders. We're letting 20 million motherfuckers through, and like 100,000 of them are fucking rapists. Like, that's a no-brainer. So, the Trump side is saying First Amendment, no censorship, Truth Social, Rumble, that's no censorship. Second Amendment, dude, someone comes into my house, I'm blowing them the fuck away. Second Amendment, that's no-brainer shit. That's no-brainer. And then the border, no-brainer. Yes, let people, hardworking, honest people that are coming through, like my grandfather, he snuck through the border, hard worker, raised 10 kids on cutting the grass and doing construction. Yes, let hardworking guys trying to escape fucking tyranny, socialism, all that shit. But you gotta vet them. You just can't fucking let everyone just walk through, give them fucking iPhones and a debit card with $1,200 and a plane ticket to swing states. Sounds pretty fucking suspicious to me.
And especially like even the homeless epidemic is crazy, right? Like, it's like I feel like they're just bringing in more people, and some of those people become homeless, or it kind of pushes more of the homeless ideology because of like people lose jobs, stuff like that. So they have to go to that side. It's like, and that's scary, man, especially like, I mean, you and me, we're dads, and it's like, we don't want to be around that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy. Yeah.
Yeah. It's just common sense shit. You're sending billions of fucking dollars to Ukraine when we have fucked up shit here. It's all really simple. So we don't know if the Trump side is legit or not. No one knows for sure. But what I do know for sure is the other side are demons. That's 1,000,000%. Anybody on that side, anybody synchronized or concurring with that side, 1,000,000% demons. There's no way I was brainwashed into thinking Nancy Pelosi is a good person. There's no way that's a brainwash. That's impossible. That's impossible. That's 1,000,000%. So what I'm going with, I don't know, maybe Trump is a trick. I don't know, maybe he is, but at least there's hope on that side. There's only two sides. At least there's hope on that side. And we know the other side, fucking dark demon shit. It's all, look at all the people partying with Diddy. Look at all the people partying with Diddy. It was all fucking Obama.
Speaking of demons, today, obviously every time you turn on your phone, you're going to see some new stuff coming up with the Diddy stuff, since it's all happening right now or whatever. And today I opened up my phone, and like the first news thing I saw was about Diddy, how like this one of the detectives or one of the guys working with the case came out and talked publicly about the case, and he was saying that they have a list full of people, and all those people are not people that were just standby or they were just around or whatever. They're people that participated, and they'll have big names, and they're all of them are getting, they know who they are, and they're getting their case. They're opening up their case for all those other people, and they're coming after them to be ready. Essentially, like a warning, and saying that the list of high level, celebrities or whatever is out. They came from the Diddy tapes they got, and all the information they have from all the blackmail stuff. All the info is supposed to come out, and I guess like they have a list of a bunch of celebrities. So I'm very curious to see like who else is gonna get it. Like we're gonna lose like a whole generation of artists. Like
crazy.
Yeah, the 90s R&B and hip hop scene. Woo! But it's not only just that. It's Hollywood actors.
Oh yeah.
They're throwing Ashton Kutcher in there. You know what I mean? Like I don't know what's going on with him, but he was tight with P. Diddy. They're trying to distance themselves. Everybody's all like, "Yeah, I went to the party, but I left at 8:30." You know what I mean? Everybody left early.
Ashton Kutcher is also connected to I forgot the redhead guy from that 70s show, the other guy that was in that
Yeah,
show.
yeah, Danny Masterson.
Yeah, he was also like a Scientology guy, but he was a bunch of girls came out with like all these accusations and proof of him sexually abusing them and doing all this stuff. And Ashton came to court and try to like make him look like a good guy and kind
Yeah.
of make them, those guys. And then, his wife, Tulin or whatever, like Ashton was like, there's videos of him like talking about how he made out with her when she was 15 years old because it was for the show, and like he put his tongue out and all this weird shit, and you're just like, what? Like, what kind of grooming shit is this? You know what I mean? Like, it's all connected, and the way I look at it is like Diddy is like the Epstein for the
Music scene.
rappers, and Epstein was like that for like politicians and like movie directors.
Scientists and scientists.
Or yeah, scientists, and I guess the other guy was the movie director guys. What's his face?
Weinstein or whatever.
Yeah, Weinstein, Harvey Weinstein. He was like the guy that did it for the movies. But all these guys are doing the same shit. They're just learning, getting a bunch of shit to blackmail people, and all that stuff comes from originally the Mossad. All starts from the Mossad doing it to our government. When they infiltrated our government, and we're calling them out for being wearing like dresses, and people were trying to hide their sexuality. They had like pretty much the Mossad had a bunch of shit on our government, and we copied their tactics. It's all if you look into history.
I think we didn't just copy their tactics. I think the Mossad and the CIA
they infiltrated.
They're one. They're working together.
Well, the CIA got infiltrated by them. You know what I mean? Like they got in there and we let them in, and essentially we're doing the same tactics they're using. We're using everything they do. So it's like you're right. Like either they're taking over or we're working with them or something. But the Mossad definitely has like these tactics that have been going on forever, and it's new to us. It's new to the CIA. You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's scary shit, man. I mean, like all this Diddy shit, dog. It's almost like, you know what I think, this is a crazy theory, is maybe, this is what I think. The timing. Just think about the timing of all this shit coming out right before the election. This could be a tactic, a deep state tactic to make sure that before the election, no fucking celebrities or politicians try to go pro-Trump, because look what we're doing to Diddy. You want to get it? I think all the people that were connected to Diddy, 100% they're not going to be pro-Trump. They're not going to be like, Elon Musk is pro-Trump now. RFK Jr. is pro-Trump now. Tulsi Gabbard, all these motherfuckers, Russell Brand, all these guys are jumping over and saying, you know what? It's not about Republican versus Democrat. There's evil motherfuckers on the Republican side, and there's evil motherfuckers on the Democrat side. It's not even. There are way more evil on the Democrat side. It's not like a tie. It's not a tie. Way more on the Democrat. But the Republicans are pretty fucking evil too. But the few good politicians, there's only a handful, they tend to be on the right, because they just tend to be, because it's a little bit harder to corrupt Republicans, a little bit, because Republicans are like more about self-sustaining, small government, First Amendment, Second Amendment, a little Jesus in there. It's a little bit harder to corrupt conservatives than it is Democrat. Easy. Democrats, they don't believe in God. They just want to party and fuck. I mean, I considered myself a Democrat my whole life. I never really voted ever, but I thought like, there's no way I'm on Republican side. Family values, fuck that. I'm going to party in Vegas, get high, and have sex with as many girls as possible. Well, as you get older and you have children, you start to see like, damn, the conservatives had something right.
Or not even that.
Of course, family values. Of course, family value. Of course. But we're like demonizing. They've been demonizing family values and self-sustainability, like hillbillies out that have their own farm and grow their own food and raise their own livestock. We're like demonizing them. Oh, they're dumb. They're full. They don't know shit.
They're boring.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Meanwhile, they're smart as fuck, because they don't need nobody to survive. They know how to run a farm. They know how to raise animals and grow crops and shit. But we were raised to make fun of hillbillies and self-sustaining people.
Cowboys and stuff.
Yeah, so now it's like that's like the cool thing now. The cool thing is going.
We all want to learn how to
farm, right?
shit on your
Raising
own,
chickens is the new thing. That's the new thing. You know, eating your own eggs. You know what I mean? Real quick before I let you go, when I came out as a flat earther, like in 2000. I don't know what it was, like when I officially came out, like 2019 or 2018, like Joe Rogan would say, like, yo, dude, I'm worried about you, man. You know, like you're saying all this crazy shit. You're going to fucking ruin your career. I'm like, do you know what? I don't give a fuck. This is what I believe, man. You know, I'm not believing NASA. You're gonna believe NASA? Yeah. Fucking NASA? What the fuck? I'm like, you cool with cartoons? Every picture of Earth from space is a cartoon, and you're cool with cartoons? Cartoons are fine for you? Like on the fucking street, like cartoons ain't good enough. Like, wait a minute. They're all cartoons, yeah. You're cool with if you're cool with cartoons, I'm not cool with cartoons. I need to see some real shit. So. Yeah. I know you guys ain't flat Earth. I would say like a third of 10th Planet black belts are flat earthers. I would say a third are.
I would say we live in a I look at it more as like a globe. No, sorry, not a globe, but like those like snow globes.
Snow globe, yeah.
Yeah, how like the outside is a globe, but like the bottom's like flat. You know what I mean? Yeah. That's how I look at it. I do believe in a firmament. I can't even pronounce it, but
firmament.
But
okay, so you guys are on your way, but you don't have to declare that shit right now. The question I want to ask. Because I understand you got friends and family. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. We're in a fucking prison lake. We're in a fucking electromagnetic clock. We're in a machine, and we're nanobots in a machine. We're electrical beings in an electrical machine. The sun, the stars, the moon, they're all going around us like a clock. The sun is the day clock. The moon is the month clock. That's the moon. We should have 13 months with 28 days plus 1 day, like the resurrection day, which is April Fool's Day for some reason. Our calendars are all fucked up. There should be 13 fucking months, 28 days. The moon is a clock, a month clock, and the stars, they're a year clock. We're in an electromagnetic clock. We're in a machine, which includes the oceans and the land, the ground. We're in a fucking electromagnetic machine. We're electric beings. We're like nanobots. We're like, there's a torus field coming through us that's keeping us alive. We're a nanobot in this fucking clock, this electromagnetic fucking clock that's like a lake. So when people say, no one ever talks shit on people saying that, we live in a simulation. They only talk shit on people that say we live on a flat earth. I think it's both. I think it is a simulation because we're in a machine, and a machine is a simulation. We're in a machine that was created by some kind of intelligent force. It's got to be whoever created this fucking machine that we're in, that's God. I don't know if his name is Jesus, Yeshua. I don't know his name. But we're in a fucking electromagnetic machine. The sun, the fucking moon, and the stars are electromagnetic fucking luminaries of some mysterious shit. But they're a fucking clock. Nothing is just floating randomly in different directions. Everything can be measured in their movements. For all your 10th Planet Jiu-Jitsu merchandise, please visit 10thplanetjj.com/shop. We also got a Look Into It t-shirt that just dropped. Thank you very much for your support. The center of this lake we're in, that's the North Pole. And the Polaris is the only star that doesn't rotate, and it's right above the North Pole. There's the North Pole is and then all compasses point to the north. There's some kind of magnetic force in the north, and we're in a fucking lake surrounded by ice. I don't know. I don't give a fuck what people think if they think I'm fucking crazy. I'm like, you want to believe what NASA says we're on a fucking ball shooting through space at speeds you can't fucking see, and we're spinning. Yo, we're not fucking moving at all.
If I could hover over the ice walls, I would love that.
Hell yeah. I don't know what's beyond the ice walls. I don't know, but there's video of them. People are like, ice walls. Like, yeah, there's plenty of video of the fucking ice walls. And they go, and then some people will say, oh, but you can't trust video. I'm like, yeah, I get you. You can't trust like the NASA video of the moon landings, but there is some video you can trust. So like if you, so there's some people that don't believe in the ice wall because they've never seen it themselves, and like the videos of the ice wall, they're like, you can't believe videos, it could be fake. I'm like, okay, I've never seen a fucking great white shark. But I've seen it on video. Does that mean I shouldn't believe in them? I've never seen an aircraft carrier, but I've seen them on video. Do aircraft carriers, they don't exist? You know, at some point you got to go, okay, that video looks authentic. You know what I mean? At some point, you could speculate. You know, who knows? But my question is for you guys: is do you believe we landed on the moon?
No, I do not believe that we landed on the moon.
Oh shit! Okay, beautiful.
I don't think we landed on the moon, and I think like the whole Earth thing. I think there's different subjects about it, and I think it's all interesting. I'm open-minded to it all. You know what I'm saying? Like but the moon landing, I don't think it happened. I think that was all like that was all in at a studio. You know what I'm saying? Like I do not believe that we landed on the moon. I think if we were able to do it then, we'll be able to do it way many more times than we would have been already on top of there and doing a bunch of shit on the moon right now as we speak. But I don't think we ever landed on the moon. When I was younger, that was fucking cool and it was awesome. But at this moment in time, the older I got and the smarter I feel I feel that we didn't. I feel that it was all you know, televised scenario, you know, and even though we were always taught that we landed on the moon, like I think it was fake to begin with.
Hell yeah! What about you, Gio?
I feel like Stanley Kubrick, or I think that's his last name.
Kubrick.
The guy. Yeah.
The guy who did The Shining.
The Shining. He did Ice Wide Shut. Ice Wide Shut was his last movie before he got killed by Sony, right? But I feel if you look into his story, it's pretty interesting how he has a lot of connections with that, you know. And I feel like it's hard to, when you watch the footage, it looks really bad, you know what I mean? Like if you actually rewatch it now, it just looks stupid. It's like if you actually believe that's real footage, it's almost like you have no sense of like, you know,
reality in a sense.
Yeah, on the streets you wouldn't last. On the streets and on the mats, jiu-jitsu mats and on the streets, if you're not speaking the truth, you're gonna get killed. You're literally gonna get killed. You can't be talking no bullshit. Like you go to a jiu-jitsu school and say, yeah, I could tap that guy, I could tap. You're gonna have to go prove that shit. You know what I mean? You can't just say shit, you know, but with politics, you could just say anything.
I don't even think land on the moon. I think the moon is like plasma. You know, like I don't even know if you can land on the moon. Like, can you even land on the moon? You know, like there's other theories that it's not even like solid, you know, that's just like more like plasma stuff. So like I heard this theory before that's very interesting to me, is that like the moon is just like, it just like swallows your souls when you die and then brings you back to this like trap of Earth. And somehow you have to, like, even if you look at like the certain like you know, ancient tribes and stuff, they talk about how you got to get through like that next level, you know what I mean? Like the Book of Death and stuff talks about how you got to go through that next level past the light. Like I feel when you die, you see the light and it's really the moon and it's like calling your soul, and then it like eats your soul and then puts you back into the earth. It's like a trap, you know what I mean? Like, so I feel like it's like a trap. Like we're in this trap that we just keep reincarnating until we figure it out to hit that next like dimension, that next level. And that's like, it's hard to do, you know. I don't know how to do that because I feel I'm trapped in this earth because I'm consumed by all this materialistic, everything around me is consuming my life. That's all I know, you know. But maybe being a monk and going into the mountains and meditating and just connecting with nature and then trying to like hit that next level with your, you know, with your soul, with your spirit, whatever. Maybe that's the way to do it. I don't know, but maybe there is something to it like that, you know. But it's very interesting to think about if the moon, if it is real and we landed there before, it's kind of weird that we can't go there no more. And it's weird that we lost all the science, all the information. Like it just kind of got misplaced. It just sounds like almost like a made up story to me.
That to me, that's the reason why. It's like, why are we not there again? And why are we not doing bigger things on the moon if there was a real thing, if we got there, if we were able to land on the moon, why are we not doing it consistently? Why do we have like literally like like huts with like humans out there already, you know what I'm saying? Trying to do research like hand to hand. What's up?
Trying to terraform fucking the moon.
Something.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the biggest thing. It's like if we've been there before back in the days, it's like, why can't we go there now? We have like so much more like knowledge nowadays, you know what I'm saying? And I'm sure we could do way bigger things out there. So if we've gone there already, we should be able to get there again. And I feel that that's the reason why I feel we never landed. The biggest reason.
What I would wish, sorry.
Go ahead.
What I would think would be cool to find out that like the moon is like Death Star, you know, it's a giant alien base that, you know, they put that moon there to control our waves or water, you know, because we know that the moon controls our current, and we know that supposedly human came from the ocean, the water with the waves, and you know, there's some kind of connection there that the moon, maybe that if it wasn't for the moon, there wouldn't be no humans, you know what I mean? Maybe the moon was planted there specifically, and it's like a organic you know, spaceship, like hollow spaceship, and when you go inside of it, there's like a whole ancient alien civilization like monitoring us, and kind of like, you know, almost like we're like a, you know, like a experiment to them or something, or who knows what they want from us, or maybe, you know, maybe it was a base and we were originally here just to mine for gold, and once we took all the gold, or they took all the gold they needed, and they went back to wherever they went to, Planet Biru, to use the gold to, obviously they talk about how they needed the gold to help their ecosystem or their air or whatever,
The atmosphere.
their atmosphere and stuff. So like that would be pretty interesting if that was just like a base and they just used it for a while, for hundreds of years or thousands of years, until they got all the shit they needed, and they just bounced, and it's just like a abandoned fucking old fucking spaceship moon. It was there for a little bit. You know what I mean? Like that could be true.
Oh shit. Hell yeah. Hey, we got Jiu-Jitsu Overdose coming up in December. Gio and Boogie gonna be teaching seminars there. I decided to do just a Jiu-Jitsu extravaganza. Thursday, December 12th, Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico. Friday, December 13th, Medusa. That Saturday, EBI. And then Sunday is Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds. 4 straight nights of Jiu-Jitsu mayhem, and those are the night shows. 4 straight shows at night, but during the day we're gonna have seminars. I'm gonna teach a seminar. Gio's gonna teach a seminar. Boogie, Jean-Jacques Machado gonna teach a seminar. Curtis, Master Vic. So it's just gonna be Jiu-Jitsu mayhem. And at night, we're going to have Sam Tripoli, Chingo Bling, and Leonardra Joni, who's an awesome comic. I just recently added her. So we're going to have seminars in the morning, Jiu-Jitsu extravaganza at night, and comedy at late night. So it's in Cancun. Go to jiu-jitsuoverdose.com, reserve your spot. You know, I hope to see all you guys there. jiu-jitsuoverdose.com. Where can my audience reach you guys?
For me, it's very easy. You go boogeyman _ 10p, you know, 10p, and usually on Instagram, or you could always find me at 10 Planet San Diego.
Me, I'm always at 10 Planet Oceanside. You can find me if you want to train with me, or you want to just come and hang out. 10 Planet Oceanside. You can find me on Instagram on Ultrazoid 10p. You know, send me a message, contact me if you need anything. Super excited for the Jiu-Jitsu Overdose. It's gonna be sick. You know, a lot of people don't know, but it's gonna be a resort, you know, all inclusive too. So I've been telling a lot of my students to take advantage of that, because these kind of trips are like one of a lifetime, you know what I mean? You get to train with high-level grapplers, you get to watch high-level tournaments, and then, you know, the comedy show mixed with like a really great environment. It's like every jiu-jitsu, you know, grappler out there should do a camp at least once in their life.
I think this one's going to be like, you know, packed for everything. Anything you like, you're going to be able to have. You know, saying great food, great environment, good people, music, fucking everything. You know what I'm saying? And you're going to have a little bit of everybody from all different organizations. You can have great events, and I think they're going to be super fun. You know, I got a couple of my guys competing in those, so I'm very, very hyped up. It makes it even more fun, you know, and, you know, a bunch of comedy to end the night. Like, doesn't get better than that.
Yeah, as far as the jiu-jitsu competitors, the 10th Planet jiu-jitsu competitors, at Combat Jiu-Jitsu Mexico, that starts on Thursday night. And that's going to have that's going to consist of 2 8-man tournaments, a welterweight tournament and a lightweight tournament. And each one of those winners qualifies and enters just days later, EBI on Saturday and Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds on Sunday. So the first night, the first event is going to be a qualifier for the last 2 events. And then Friday, the next day, Medusa, that's all the girls doing Combat Jiu-Jitsu. So that's all the girls just fucking doing high-level Jiu-Jitsu with fucking smacks and strikes and putazos. And then, and on that card in Medusa, we got 10th Planet Decatur's Kaya Jackson. We got 10th Planet Austin's Lauren Sears. We got 10th Planet Newton, New Jersey, Randy Miley. They're all jumping in it. And then Saturday, we do EBI, the welterweights. And we have Alan Sanchez. He's the current welterweight EBI champion. 10th Planet San Diego and South Bay. PJ Barch, superstar, ADCC bronze medalist. He's jumping in. And the third guy we got in is Kevin Buring, who's coming up from 10th Planet Atlanta. This guy's on fucking fire. He's going to shock some people. Kevin Buring is on another level. And then Sunday, the final night in Cancun, the final event is Combat Jiu-Jitsu Worlds, the lightweights. We got Keith Krikorian, who is the featherweight Combat Jiu-Jitsu champion. He's going up in weight at 55. We also have 10th Planet legend, Nathan Orchard from 10th Planet Seattle, and also Ben Eddy, who's arguably right up there with Boogie when you start talking about best guard players of all time. Forget about rubber guard, just best guard players of all fucking time. Boogie and Ben Eddy are always right there in the conversation. So go to jujitsuoverdose.com, jump on that shit. This might be a one-in-a-lifetime thing, or maybe we do it every year. Maybe it's so much fucking fun we do it every goddamn year. Boogie, Gio, fucking love you guys. I owe you so much for your loyalty and your dedication. Let's keep growing. I think this is just the beginning. This is like we got to keep building fucking warriors and building champions. And I think this is just the foundation. I think the next 20 years are going to be even more insane. Thank you guys. I love you guys. 10th Planet San Diego, 10th Planet Oceanside. I'm at 10th Planet downtown LA, 10th Planet HQ. Fucking love you guys. Thank you. I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Peace.
The Jiu-Jitsu Dojo is the ultimate training ground for life. Jiu-Jitsu will accelerate the evolution of your being, your consciousness, your soul. Through this amazing art, you will prove to yourself that you can master anything you set your mind to.
Happy birthday, Eddie Bravo.
I leave for Brazil tomorrow. Are you the Fear Factor guy? I'm like 6 pounds over. Time to sweat it out. Just imagine someone that has no idea how different your game is.
I'll tell you what this weekend was, man. It was a culmination point where all your hard work comes to like one great moment in time. You showed that you're a fucking champion, guy who goes against convention. You created your own shit and figured interesting ways to get around problems in jiu-jitsu. And shows you that great things are possible if you work hard, if you dedicate yourself, and you use your creativity, and you push through. Your own human potential just goes up.
My 10th Planet Association has grown rapidly to over 70 academies worldwide, and their curriculums are all synced to 10th Planet headquarters located in downtown Los Angeles. I'm Eddie Bravo. I hope to see you on the mats.